All right, what up, Whodat Nation? It's your boy Marley G. Welcome back to another episode of No Cap, No Filter. Saints and shoot, man, we got a whole lot to discuss, man. I've been on a little hiatus lately, but I've been letting a lot of stuff just build up before I just give my opinion because, there's been a lot of news came out since the last time I did a show, but I ain't really want to just keep on doing a lot of episodes because it was gonna be a lot of the same things I was gonna say. I want to let it build up. So as we all know, since we got Clint Kubiak, we had a wide receivers coach from the Ravens. We had running backs coach from the Chargers. He's been doing good with Austin Eckler. Um, we pretty much got the whole offensive coaching staff rehauled. All these guys are brand new. We overhauled the whole entire offense. New offensive coordinator on down. Quarterbacks, coaches. We did a whole lot. So I mean, this is what any fan could ask for. I'm pretty sure it's more people are happy about these decisions than not. I don't think it's a lot of Pete Carmichael one of ones out there. It's a lot of Derek Carr one of ones. It's a lot of Jameis Winston one of ones, but it's not no Pete Carmichael one of ones out there who just missing Pete Carmichael. So I say that to say I feel like those were some good moves. The fan base felt like those were some good moves. We headed in the right direction. Um, a lot of people feel like Clint Kubiak, he's going to just transform our offense into the San Francisco 49ers offense, but I don't think it works like that. I don't think we have the same type of personnel that those guys have, or the same type of mindset that those guys have. Like, that's a mentality they have over there. Like, the 49ers, they whoop us a lot in meaningful games, but one thing I can say, I respect how they carry the culture over there. Like, they always in the mix of things. Like, they're always in the NFC Championship. You can never count them out. They're always probably in a Super Bowl. Like, they just always in the mix. So they've been in the mix like that from just breeding physical teams and physical players and having that mindset. They always got players that get yak on offense. On defense, they always known for the pressure of the quarterback and be pretty stout on defense. So what's up, Mike? Mike says hello. Thanks for joining the show, Mike. They always have stout defense, but one thing I can't say that I always had just respect for the San Francisco 49ers. And that mentality that they've been embedded in to all their new players, from the veterans to the rookies to free agency. Like, they embody that very well. And I just think when it comes to playbooks and things of that nature, you're gonna have the personnel for it all to work. We seen it last year. With Pete Carmichael, shoot, it didn't work out. We brought him back again. It didn't work out. And I just think he didn't have the right personnel. And the right personnel is having a Hall of Fame quarterback like Drew Brees. Because he called plays one year and it all worked out, but we had Drew Brees. Like Pete Carmichael, I think his playbook is a little bit complex, and you have to dumb it down for some of these quarterbacks after Drew Brees. That's why Derek Cole was having partial hard time. That's why Jameis Winston was having a hard time. Sean had to dumb it down for him. So, it's not going to be a lot of Drew Brees running around this mug. So he was just one of a kind. But as far as Clint Kubiak, him mimicking the 49ers offense and bringing it to the Saints, I think he's going to take bits and pieces of it, but he's going to make it fit us. If anything, I think that we're going to run more closer to what Miami does, because I think they personnel fit us more than the 49ers personnel. Like, the 49ers have yak machines all over the place. They have George Kittle. Jawan Johnson ain't getting yak like that. They have Debo Samuels. Uh Michael Thomas ain't getting yak like that. And a lot of people think that just because Debo Samuels is a Swiss Army knife, he could be kind of the same type of player that we could be trying to use Taysom to be. But I don't think it worked like that. Like, Taysom, he's a downhill runner, and he's not as elusive or agile as Debo Samuels. Like, Taysom Hill, just a straight downhill runner. Can he be our Swiss Army knife still? Yes. but it's going to have to take a lot of other stuff involved for him to have success, like how Debo be having. Now, the thing that Taysom has over Debo is Taysom is capable of throwing the ball. So I think that Taysom is the most well-rounded, uh, offensive Swiss Army knife weapon. Then you got the boy in Atlanta. He's pretty good too, Cordell Patterson. So, but I feel like Debo, he's way more elusive and agile, like than Taysom Hill. That's why he's always getting told he's a running back. But when it comes to Taysom, I think that we could use him in a variety of ways, especially in the red zone to help out Derek Carr. We didn't use Jimmy Graham to the best of his ability to help out Derek Carr for whatever reason. Pete Carmichael, for the love of God, I don't know why didn't use Jimmy Graham in the red zone. Um, and to me, that's just like coaching, man. Like I felt like Dennis Allen could have easily stepped in and just forced, Pete Carmichael to have Jimmy Graham out there. And that's one thing I just don't trust when it comes to this whole overhaul of everything. Like, yeah, Clint Kubiak gonna be good. He's gonna be an upgrade, but to me, the ceiling is gonna be the '09. I mean, the last year's Bucks. With Baker Mayfield. That's what I see. You got Gundam in the building. What up, family? Who that family? What up, Gundam? You got Jerry. What up, No Cap? How y'all been doing, man? Jerry up in here, Gundam up in here, Mike up in here. I'm gonna open up the phone lines in a little bit. Just let me talk for a little bit longer, and you guys could come on and join the show if you like. I'll put the link in the chat. But yeah, man. I think it's gonna be more towards like Miami. They have all those running backs over there. They're doing pretty well. They tight end. They ain't have much production out of Mike Jasecki. I forgot how to pronounce his name. Forgive me, but yeah, we wanted him real bad. But he ain't even really been just putting up the monster numbers. The numbers been coming from the running backs and Waddle and Tyreek Hill. So yeah, we could use Rashid Shaheed, like how they use Tyreek Hill. But once again, I think Tyreek Hill is just a different breed. Like Tyreek Hill, he's more physical than Rashid Shaheed. Like he's just a big battering ram tank. Like he's just a mini tank. He's real stout. So he just more different than a Rashid Shaheed to me. Waddle, Waddle, he get a lot of good yak too, and Olave, he don't really. I won't say he's a yak type of person. Like it's been a lot of times where I felt like Olave caught the ball and he probably could have turned up field in game of yards, but he didn't. He'll either go out of bounds or he'll slide, and there's nothing wrong with that if you that type of player. Like I always kind of compare him to Tyler Lockett, and Tyler Lockett, he's a real good route runner. He's a real good deep threat. He got hands, and I feel like he extended his career by just sliding after he get the ball. So ain't nothing wrong with that, as long as you still being productive. And through all these quarterbacks that Olave had, he's still been productive. Over 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns or so. So he's always been productive. But I think with this new Clint Kubiak offense, I think it's going to be around the same type of production. I think if anybody's going to have a boost in a uh, production, I think it's going to be the running backs and the tight ends. And that's something that I think could benefit Derek Carr the most. Like I don't want Derek Carr throwing the ball a lot. Like I want our running backs to really help him out. I think we got to get Miller going. I think we got to get Jamal Williams going. He got to add on that weight that he had lost in this hot training camp. Uh, we got to get Alvin Kamara back to the airhead. Alvin Kamara, I think he still got juice left. I just think it's going to all depend on the scheme. It's going to depend on the blocking, how you using them. I think we need to use them in a multifaceted ways. The Texas wheel route, it's just a lot of things that I want Alvin Kamara to be doing as well as Taysom Hill. Like, those are just special Swiss Army knife players that you could do a lot with. Running the ball, catching the ball. It just endless the possibilities what you could do with these two guys. And it's just a shame that they haven't been getting the touches and looks they should have been getting. But I expect Clint Kubiak to definitely improve the offense. But like I say, man, I really have my expectations not too high for the team. The schedule is more harder. First of all, uh, we're not going to get that lucky uh, injury luck that we had last year. Like everybody didn't start getting hurt until week 10. So we was really getting lucky with a lot of injuries, and we was facing teams who was unlucky. So I don't think that's going to happen again. Then you got to look at special teams. When it comes to special teams, do you really believe in Lou Hadley? Do you really believe in, our kicker? Like, if we was to make the playoffs, do you believe on? Can you count on those guys to in clutch situations to do a good punt and do a good kick? We still got to beef up the offensive line. We don't know what we're gonna do with Pete. We don't know what's gonna happen with Ryan Ramczyk. We don't know if things gonna pan out with Penning. Defensive line, we thought we was gonna beef up the D line and stop the run with Shepard and Saunders, but they left a lot on the field to you know like I really feel like Sanders, his only saving grace was the fact that he was coming in on them fun fullback packages in the red zone. Other than that, he haven't really been doing much. We couldn't stop the run. So it's like we have no components of being a playoff team. Yeah, we might fix something, but we spread out way too thin across the board. You know, like you're not gonna be a playoff team if you can't run the ball, you can't stop the run, no pass rush, no good special teams, no good quarterback play, no good head coach. Clint Kubiak can only do so much. That's why I say our ceiling is what the Bucks did last year with Baker Mayfield. Like everybody felt like they was going to do much, but they won enough games to win a division, and they got lucky in the playoffs, and they went up against a downward spiraling Eagles team, and they won that game. They won a playoff game. But do you really feel like the Bucks are going to sustain success? Do you really feel like the Bucks are going to win a championship like within the next few years? Do you think they have a championship window? No, they're going to just be in purgatory so long as they keep Ty Bowles and Baker Mayfield. If it's going to work, both of them have to go, or two of them have to go. Baker Mayfield would need a much better head coach, or Ty Bowles would need a much better quarterback. And me personally, I feel like you probably that's you just better off with just getting rid of the both of them. And that's the same way I feel about Dennis Allen and Derek Carr. Like Clint Kubiak, he's only going to do so much. He's just going to be the sausage, eggs, and shrimp in Derek Carr and Dennis Allen bowl of ramen noodles. Is it better ramen noodles? Yeah, sure, it's better, but it's still fucking ramen noodles. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we don't know what players are going to come back. And I ain't trying to be a double downer. This is just no cap, no filter. I gotta say what I think about the team. Like a lot of people might say I'm pessimistic and I criticize the team. I'm a fake fan, but this is just my actual feelings, and I can't do a show and just fake the funk. I can't, you know. And I just want what's best for the team, and I think what's best for the team is for Dennis Allen to get fired. But I do think we will improve on the offensive side of the ball. But with our schedule and just the way how we just got so much luck on the injury bug last year, I don't think that's going to repeat itself. I just feel like you know we're going to take two steps forward, but we're going to take two steps back. And we're going to basically still even out around the same schedule. Like our ceiling is 9-8. I'm gonna meet in the middle and just say we're going to go 8-9, but our floor is 7-10. So we're gonna see how it all play out. We definitely gonna see how it all play out. Draft Jalen Daniels. I mean, I would like to draft Jalen Daniels. Like, we'll definitely have to trade up. Dennis Allen, he was just on like a little ESPN interview, and he was talking about what they're looking for in quarterbacks and offensive tackles and pass rushers and things of that nature. So, they're gonna, you know, cross their dots and, at least take a look at quarterbacks. Now, would they draft them? I don't think so. And if they do, it's not going to be a Jaden Daniels. It's not going to be a Drake May. It's not going to be a Caleb Williams. If anything, we might see what's up with a JJ McCarthy or a Bo Nix in a second round or something. Me personally, I want Jaden Daniels. If it's not Jaden Daniels, I don't want nobody. Like I'm not too keen on Michael Penix. Like he had all them injuries. Like, man, I'm good. And he left-handed quarterback. I don't know that it's just something about a left-handed quarterback that just kind of makes me nervous. But they're definitely gonna at least look at the quarterbacks. And who knows, if somebody fall in the draft, we make a trade up. If you're gonna trade up, you definitely trade up for a quarterback. You definitely trade up for a pass rusher. You definitely trade up for a left tackle. Taysom is getting old. He'll be 35. Yeah, Taysom, he's getting up there in age, but just like Alvin Kamara, I don't see no slow up in this game. Like for what we could use Taysom for, like Taysom don't get the ball a lot game in and game out. He might have a big game where he was like the focal point of the offense and he just took over, but that might be only 2, 3 times a whole season. But other than that, you're just gonna have Taysom on a pitch count. So he's not getting a ball just an awful lot. So of course, I want his volume of getting the ball to be even more this year, but I don't think he's going to be slowing down anytime soon. I think Taysom still got a good 2 years left of his prime. And for what Taysom is doing, he extended his career because if he would have just only been quarterback and not wanted to take this opportunity of being this Swiss Army knife type of player, I think he would have been out the league right now. So he need to just embrace it, and if they double up his load or heighten up his volume, that's even better for him, man. We're not trading Kamara. I mean, I hope we don't trade Kamara. I hope we don't trade Marshawn. I hope we don't trade none of these guys because what's going to end up happening is we're going to trade them all to please Dennis Allen, and Dennis Allen is inevitably gonna still end up getting fired. It's inevitable. So we're gonna be trading these guys for nothing. Like, yeah, we traded Kamara, we traded Sean, but then 2 years later, we still fired Dennis Allen. Now we ain't got Kamara, we ain't got Sean, and the next coach just gonna have to make do with a whole roster to build. But by that time, definitely Alvin Kamara, he'll be like 30 years old. So I mean, at the end of the day, I still rather keep certain players over Dennis Allen. Like I just don't want Dennis Allen here at all. Like I might be in the minority, but I hope Dennis Allen fail because I really feel like the faster he go, the faster we could get things back on track. Because as long as he's here, hear me out. As long as he's here, we're going to win 7 to 9 games every year in and year out. We're just going to be stuck in a mid-level of purgatory. And the only reason we're winning those games is just because we have a good roster, at least a good competing roster. But with a much better head coach, almost any head coach, that's just competent, we'll be winning more games than that and making playoffs, especially in this easy division. And that's another reason. The only way he might even make the playoffs is just a simple fact that the division is weak. So you got to think about that. But I know I'm in a minority. Everybody wants the Saints to do good and all this and all that. But I think it's going to be detrimental. If we were to get 9 wins and we were to extend Dennis Allen, let's just say we won a division with 9 wins like the Bucks, that's going to be detrimental to the team. As long as Dennis Allen here, we're not going to win nothing of significance. So why hope to win when you're just going to be on a hamster wheel? You're just going to be in a mid-level competing purgatory. I'll call it next time I'm at practice. All right, Jerry, that's cool. Saints meeting business with the new guys coming with Clint Kubiak. Well, that's another thing. I wonder if Clint Kubiak was a Dennis Allen hire, or I wonder if it was a Mickey Loomis hire. If it was a Mickey Loomis hire, Dennis Allen, no, he's really on the hot seat because the same thing that happened with him with Rob Ryan is going to be the same thing that's going to happen to him. So if Clint Kubiak offense is looking good, but we still failing as a team overall, then Clint Kubiak just might be our next head coach. So it's going to be real interesting to see how that's going to work out, especially because Clint Kubiak is under 40 years old. So a lot of people are going with this new youth movement. It's going to be real interesting. And some other news, Mike Thomas, he's actually not a free agent. So that was a shocker to me. I thought he was like on a 1-year deal. So it's going to be interesting to see what we do with him. Are we going to trade him? Are we going to cut him? If we do trade him, are we just going to trade him for scraps like CD Deuce? I like Mickey Loomis, unpopular opinion. I like Mickey Loomis. He does everything in his power to, try to help the team win. Like I like the mentality of trying to help the team win right now. The only thing I don't like is who he's trying to win with, Derek Carr and Dennis Allen. If we had a better head coach and if we had a better quarterback, we wouldn't be worried about pushing the cap down the road. We wouldn't be worried about aging players. We wouldn't be worried about a lot of these things. But we're worried about them because it's Dennis Allen and Derek Carr. We're just going to be on that hamster wheel. I don't give a damn about the cap. They could be doing that every single year. They're going to find a way to get up under the cap. Like that cap hell stuff, that don't really bother me. What bothers me is who they trying to do it with. Now, when we had Sean Payton and Drew Brees, it was not really cared about as much because we had Sean Payton and Drew Brees. Now, the only thing about that kicking the cap down the road, when you have a good roster and it's time to pay these people, that will make it hard, and you got to start making some, financial decisions, and somebody's going to be a cap casualty. Like that was causes us to lose guys like Marcus Williams. That what causes us to lose guys like uh Hendrickson. Like, but at the same time, we can't be cheap. You know, like we could have had brought Mark Ingram back after that amazing season we had after the no call. We could have brought him back, but we ain't want to pay him like $1 million or two. So sometimes it's about being cheap. Even with Marcus Williams, I think we just had to pay him like $1 million more or $2 million more, but instead we let him walk. And one thing about Mickey Loomis, they have their price set, and they're not going to come off that price. If that's what they feel like he's worth, then they're not going to come off that price. The only time they might come off that price is if you somebody like Drew Brees. But I'm gonna go ahead on and open up the phone line. All right, let me go ahead on. All right, the link is in the chat right now. So if you want to call in, feel free to call in. We could talk. What up, Dana? Thanks for joining the show. But yeah, I could care less about the aging players. I could care less about the draft. I could care less about what we do in free agency. None of that matters. The only thing that matters is if DA and Carr is gone. I can't stress that enough. I can't stress that enough. We're not gonna go nowhere as long as we have these two dudes in a building. And Clint Kubiak can only do so much. A head coach job is much, much, much more important than an offensive coordinator. Much more important. A head coach makes all the decisions. They make all the final decisions. They deal with a lot of the personnel. They have to oversee the offense. They oversee the defense. They oversee the special teams. Like the head coach can really cut a player at his disposal. Can really be willing to trade a player at his disposal. You know, and everybody keeps saying, "Oh, well, Dennis Allen just got to worry about the defense. Clint Kubiak take care of the offense." It's deeper than that. As the head coach, if he just wanted to worry about the defense, it's a specific position for that. It's called defensive coordinator. Let me go ahead on and add Dolph. Man, Dolph, man, first time joining the show, man. What up, Dolph?
Man, what's happening, baby? What's cracking?
Man,
Say,
I'm
man,
just sitting
first,
up here, man. I ain't even see you in the call in before, man. I'm just back here, man. But let me go ahead on and introduce you, man. This is my brother, Dolph 17. Just was invited out there. Y'all done seen him out there getting his report on, man. Go ahead on and kick back, have a drink, have a seat, and come on in. Dolph 17, how you doing, man?
man, what's going on, Molly G, man? Bro, proud of you, my brother. Had to jump on. Sorry about the Wi-Fi. I'm driving home, man. Wanted to jump on, bro. Man, loving your content, bro. Question, bro. As far as right with the 14 pick, what would you do with the 14 pick? Let's say if you had one of the top tackles on the board and one of the top edge rushers. Let's say if you got Verse from Florida State was on the board, and from Notre Dame, which I know he's not, but hypothetically speaking, which area would you like to see the Saints go?
Well, to be honest, we got so many holes on this team. Nobody should be mad at whatever we pick, as long as it's not an injury prone type of player from a small school, as long as it's a player that everybody knows and they were productive in college at the highest level, I don't think nobody should have a problem with whatever we pick, because we really can't go wrong. We can't go wrong if we address the trenches. We can't go wrong if we address a skill position like tight end. We can't go wrong if we address, you know, tackle. We can't go wrong if we address these things. But me personally, I think it's going to depend on what we do with Andrews Pete, because I think that we're going to either move Penning to guard, or if Ramchick, if he retires, that's going to help us out. We can put him at right tackle. So if it depends on what we do with Pete. If we're going to get rid of Pete or let him walk, or he feel like he deserves more than what we get him for that contract, because he really played well. And then we got to also worry about Paulson Adebo. Paulson Adebo is going to want a lot of money. He's going to command a lot of money, especially if we were to trade Marshawn Lattimore. So a lot of things go into the mix. We might be drafting a cornerback, you know. So a lot of things go into mix on how we're going to do with our player that's already, you know, on the roster, or already, you know, in negotiations to get re-signed. So a lot of people are talking about receiver. So it really don't really, it really can't have a bad pick this year. I really feel like, but me personally, I'm a trench person. Like, I like offensive line. Like, if my offensive line is stout, I'm comfortable. When my offensive line is not stout, I'm not comfortable. I watch the trenches. Like, I don't really be looking at the skill positions like that when I'm watching the game. I'm looking at the offensive line. So me personally, especially if Pete walk, I think we need to go ahead on and get a tackle and solidify that for the next quarterback that's going to succeed Derek Carr. You hear me, Dolph? Dolph. Oh, I think we lost Dolph, people. But yeah, man, I really feel like with Dolph question that he asked me, I think we lost him. He said something was wrong with his Wi-Fi. I think he's on the road. But to his question, I really feel like we could go ahead on and get a tackle, bro. We gotta have that anchor on that offensive line. Because Pete, if he stays, I still think we need to draft his successor, because that might be a one-off year. Like, you know, can he still sustain that success? I don't know. Trevor Penning, I mean, this dude wasn't even in the game for jumbo packages. So I don't think that in his third year, they're going to just be comfortable rolling him out there at left tackle again. I think they're going to put him on the inside, which I kind of wanted a guard anyway when we drafted him. I wanted a guard anyway. And a lot of people are saying, oh, well, we traded all that up for him to be a guard. We shouldn't do that. Who cares? If he be a Pro Bowl guard, nobody's gonna care what we traded up for him. If he be a year in and year out Pro Bowl guard, I wouldn't care. So that's how I look at that. You know, um, sure, it's a lot of different places we could go, but I wouldn't be mad if we got a defensive tackle. You know, we can't stop the run. You know, Colin Sanders, Nathan Shepard, we need a beast. Brian Brzee, he can only do so much. And, you know, if Brian Brzee had a running mate next to him, I think he's going to be even more better. You know, so sure. We can't really go wrong this draft, people. Like, this probably the best draft I'm most excited for, because it's literally, we can't go wrong so long as we draft somebody who's been productive in college. That's all we got to do. Just draft somebody who actually been productive in college. Now, if we get one of these players that, you know, been injury prone, like if we just do the usual small school prospect, did real good with this RAS score, like, man, look here, we don't need all that. We just need somebody who you seen that film, and that film didn't lie, and he jumped out on the field. That's all we need against top competition. You know, now me personally, I wouldn't be mad if we got Brock Bowers. I wouldn't be mad at that. I still think that it's something there with Jawan. I don't really know how high of a ceiling that Foster Moreau has, but Jawan, I still think it's something there. But I wouldn't be mad if we got Brock Bowers because that dude is gonna be a monster. And if Clint Kubiak come, I think he'll be able to get him right. He's gonna definitely use our players better than what Pete Carmichael was, but that's not saying much because I feel like almost any offensive coordinator would use our players better than Pete Carmichael. So I'm gonna go ahead on and put the link back in the chat again. I don't really know what happened there, but let me go ahead on and put the link back in the chat. Um, all right, the link is back in the chat. You guys feel free to join. I think we had lost Dolph there for a second, but hopefully we could get him back or somebody else come in. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a lot, bro. It's gonna be a lot. We're gonna have to see what we're gonna do with Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston just been going all around New Orleans for this Mardi Gras season, been showing his face, been out there in the community, in the public, shaking hands and kissing babies, dancing with news reporters and kids. Like, man, he just been out there in the community killing it, man. And he always been like that. But for some reason, it's just something about me saying, okay, is this all 100% genuine, or is he kind of doing this knowing how it will make the fan base feel, and just know it attorney noses up at DA even more, know it attorney noses up at Carr even more, because Carr is never around. Like, if you're gonna embrace the city, you gotta embrace the city. You can't just talk about it. You gotta go do it. Cause the vibes I get from uh Derek Carr is just like, oh, he gonna say the right things, but his actions speak another are showing you different. It's showing you otherwise. Like he just come off as fake to me, bro. He just come off as a fraud to me. Like it's a reason why, you know, a lot of the Saints players just, was kind of like shined off from dude. Like that dude just he ain't it, man. He ain't it, bro. And I keep on telling y'all, when it come to him and a guy like Baker Mayfield, I feel like Derek Carr, he not light years better than Baker Mayfield when it come to skill, but when it come to socializing, when it comes to just being a leader, when it comes to being a player that guys going to rally behind, Baker Mayfield got him beat 100 times more than him. Like nobody is not rallying around Derek Carr like that. Nobody's not fighting for him like that. They would do that for Baker Mayfield, I believe. I believe Baker Mayfield had that type of infectious personality, just like Jameis got that infectious personality. That's why they knew if Jameis would have came into that game, some of them games, and just started while Derek Carr was hurt, which he should have. If Jameis would have won one of them games, sure, that could have been a difference in going to the playoffs or not. And on top of that, it would have really caused a quarterback controversy, and it was already a quarterback controversy. People was already wanting Jameis. So they ain't really want to even open up that can of worms by Jameis coming in and lighting it up and just, you know, having a good game. I know Jameis would have beat the Bucks if we would have played the Bucks, because that should have been the game that Jameis should have played. Because that was the game right after Derek Carr had hurt his arm. If you was gonna play any game, that was the perfect game to play. You playing at home, you playing versus the Bucks, your old team. We already know the history, the recent history that has been with the Bucks. Uh, you the backup. You lost your starting job to Andy Dalton last year. Like you want to prove Da wrong. Man, it was just so much. It was just so much that I really felt like Jameis would have won that damn Bucks game. And that was the same game that Derek Carr, he would just kept throwing it to the line of scrimmage at Alvin Kamara all game, you know. And Baker Mayfield out there just wild, and Baker Mayfield out there just styling. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta understand how these people just playing, bro. It's just a dirty game, bro. It's just a dirty game, and Jameis just got done miss fairly. And I never really felt like Derek Carr was just better than Jameis. Like the only reason I was happy that we got Derek Carr because I knew that Jameis wasn't Derek. I knew that Jameis wasn't Da guy, and I said, okay, well, the only way we're gonna succeed is if he have his guy, and his guy was Derek Carr. Pete Carmichael felt like Derek Carr could run the offense better than Jameis Winston, I believe. You know, so I said, okay, well, if we're gonna succeed, they're gonna have to have their guy. But me personally, when it come to just kill, I didn't think that Derek Carr was much better than Jameis Winston. To be honest, I thought they about the same. So I felt like, okay, that's their guy. And on top of that, I just never thought that Michael Thomas liked Jameis. I thought that Michael Thomas, he was raving for Derek Carr. And I said, okay, well, Michael Thomas gonna get what he want. He gonna be able to stay in New Orleans. I wanted Mike Thomas to stay. So I was all for Derek Carr. That was the only reason. But after seeing how Derek Carr is, after his true colors came to the light, I don't want this dude on my team. I don't want this dude as our quarterback, especially him with Dennis Allen. Like that, that's just like the nightmarish dynamic duo, bro. It's just a nightmare dynamic duo. Two perennial losers who ain't never won nothing in all their years. Dennis Allen been a head coach for multiple years, never won nothing. Derek Carr been in the league multiple years, never been just high regarded, never been a playoff winner, multiple years. You know, at some point you got to stop giving these guys the benefit of the doubt and just say they are who they are. And even if they were to make the playoffs, once again, it's going to be because we in a bad division. We might get lucky like the Bucks and catch a team that's on a downward spiral like the Eagles. But do you really think we could win a championship with Dennis Allen? No. If you think we can win a championship with Dennis Allen, then I got some beachfront real estate property I won't sell you. You know what I'm saying? It takes much more than that when it comes to being a head coach. You can't just say, oh, he just got to worry about the defense. It's in all facets. We got way too many components that's missing from this team to say we could be a real threat. Unless we just damn sure hit on that draft. But even then, a lot of people like to compare us to the Lions. Yeah, Clint Kubiak, he might be a Ben Johnson. Clint Kubiak, yeah, he might be a Ben Johnson and have our running backs like the Lions running backs and have Derek Carr looking like golf. But Dennis Allen ain't no Dan Campbell. That's the difference. Ben Johnson was the X and O's. Dan Campbell was the rah-rah. Dennis Allen, he's not rah-rah. He's going to have good X's and O's when it comes to the defense, but even when it comes to the defense, I feel like Dennis Allen, he's kind of overrated as a defensive coordinator because there's no way you let these quarterbacks that we faced have the type of success they had against us. There's no way you can't stop the RPO. You still having problems with this. There's no way that you got Zach Bond not rushing a quarterback. So that's the only way I feel about it. Now, the one thing I do give Dennis Allen, he could coach up some DBs. Like, we're going to have a good secondary with him. If anything's going to go right, we're going to have a good secondary. And that's without a good pass rush. That's without a good run stopping. Like, no matter what, we're going to have a good secondary. That's probably the only thing you could count on that's going to be successful when it comes to Dennis Allen. But other than that, Steve Spagnuolo is who Dennis Allen think he is. It's who y'all think Dennis Allen is. That's what I think. It was what you done for me lately. Shoot. Sometimes you can't hold a guy against his past. What have you done for me lately? And lately, Steve Spagnuolo been on this game. But yeah, Dan Campbell, he's a rah-rah. Them guys will run through a wall for him. Them guys love him. That's the difference. That's the difference. I don't care what they saying in this media. All these Saints media reporters, they gonna always tap dance around Dennis Allen. They'll bring the heat down on somebody if they know about to be about the building. But they're gonna tap dance around Dennis Allen. They're not gonna come out and say, yeah, I think we need to fire. I think they need to fire Dennis Allen. They're not gonna say that. They're gonna tap dance around, beat around the bush, be blind to the fact. But they're gonna point out all these other factors instead of pointing out the main elephant in the room, which is Dennis Allen. Now we holding training camp about there in California. A lot of people think it's to appease Derek Carr, because Derek Carr is from California. But me personally, I think it's a good idea because when you training you will want to get the best training you can get in. Out there in New Orleans, it be hot as hell out there. So why deal with, you know, all this heat and catching these heat strokes and all this and all that and not getting the best of preparation in for your players? You know, why do that? Why have to go through that? Then you making practice more short. You know, instead of practice being an hour and 20 minutes, you having it just for 50 minutes. You know, you letting players go home early because it's so hot. You want to get the most work in you could get. It's going to be out there in Irvine, California. You know, but at the same time, I don't really know if that's an excuse because we had a lot of good winning seasons and we were holding practice in New Orleans out there in the heat. But the difference was we had Sean Payton and Drew Brees. And Houston, Texas, it's real hot out here. And guess what? The Texans, shoot, they had a damn good team. And they were out there in that heat, just like the Saints was out there in that heat. And guess what? They had a damn good team. But you know why? CJ Stroud. You know why? They head coach. You know, the head coach quarterback combo, dog. When all these record predictions come out, the first thing these Vegas and all these talking heads they look at is the head coach. The second thing they look at is the quarterback. And depending on if the head coach is defensive minded or offensive minded, they're gonna look at the offensive coordinator. That's the triangle that they're looking at. And when they predicted us to have, you know, a low scoring record, we all were mad. But now we see how important it is for a head coach quarterback combination. I mean, we've seen it for what, 17 years. It's not a coincidence we were one of the most winning franchises in all of sports in the last 20 years or so. It's not a coincidence. We did that because we had a good head coach quarterback combination that held a lot of the issues together from this team. When an issue arises, Sean could nip that in the bud, get things right, get things in order, have structure, be competent, be accountable. Drew Brees, sure, he's just he locker room leader, field general. You know, first one at practice, last one to leave. Lead by example. In a community. We don't get that from Derek Carr. We don't get that from Dennis Allen. And that's the difference. But it's gonna be interesting to see what we're gonna do with Michael Thomas. It's gonna be interesting to see what we're gonna do with Jameis Winston. You know, getting rid of these guys caused us some cap problems. So not having them on our team will probably cost us more than having them off the team. I mean, they're not having them on the team. You know, so it's like we got some decisions to make. You know, I think we could get some help at the safety position. You got Marcus May. He's either injured, and when he does play, a lot of people feel like he's not that impactful. Tyrann Matthew, he get a lot of heat sometimes, but I feel like Tyrann Matthew, he played pretty well. You know, those first couple of games last year when he first was on the team, yeah, he was making some big mistakes, but you know, after those first couple of games, he played pretty well. You don't really just see Tyrann giving up a big, huge play or out of position. You don't really just see that. He do pretty decent, you know. But when it comes to that safety position, I think it's very beneficial when you just got somebody that's, you know, all over the place. That just can roam free and pick the ball or, you know, knock somebody, you know, ring somebody bell when it come to a big hit. Like it's just real good, you know. Yeah. Linebackers, we could use some depth when it comes to linebackers. We got Pete Werner. I thought he was going to excel from his rookie season. I don't think he lived up to the calling. So we're going to have to see how he bounce back. DeMario, sooner or later, he's going to start showing his age. You know, a lot of people felt like it was this season, but he was really playing through an injury. You know, just like Cam Jordan, he was playing through an injury, but even without the injury, I feel like we still need to go ahead on and see what's up with getting an edge player. Go ahead on and bring Mike to the show. What up, Mike?
What up?
You can hit me after Dolph had got off. I don't know if people heard me or not, but
Well, I just got here because I had things to do.
oh, all right. So what you got for us, Mike?
Well, like you said, the Saints, we need some. I feel like where the Saints' best needs are, we need to get some wide receiver depth in here. Cause hear me out, right? Michael Thomas, he's probably leaving, and Chris Olave, we know what he can be, we know what she can be, but after that, I mean, our next receiver is what, A.T. Perry, then it's like what, Keith Kirkwood, and then Lynn Bowden. Man, we need some receiver depth on the offensive side and that defense, bro. Honestly, we could use a lot of things. We use that defensive end. We could get some linebackers, like you said. But what we could also do, I want to see us get another corner or two, especially if we trade Lattimore. I want us to get some DBs in that secondary to play, that style that we like to do. And, I feel like, Kenny Moore, for example, he would be a good fit. But somebody like that is somebody I would like to go after. If I was Saint GM, I would go after those positions specifically.
Yeah, I said we do get rid of Lattimore. I would like to have uh Alante Till on the outside and try to get a slot cornerback like Kenny Moore. He's probably one of the better slot cornerbacks in the league. And by him being a slot, he ain't gonna just cause that much than a outside cornerback. But what position would you like the most at 14 if we were to stay packed?
At 14, if the Saints were to not trade up or down, which I don't think they will, for either, I want us to get a D tackle, right? And I actually have the perfect D tackle in mind. His name is Zerhan Newton. I don't know if you checked out my show or not, but I said what I feel about Zerhan Newton, and I stay feeling the same. That man, bro, like, he is probably one of the most athletic defensive players in the draft. Not D tackles, but probably defensive players in the draft. And, he had a career year at Iowa. I believe it was Iowa. It might have been somewhere else. No, it was Illinois. He had a career year at Illinois. And, yeah, so Zeron Newton, I would like to see him in the black and gold. And if we don't get him, I'll take maybe, if somehow this player falls, I would like to see us get a tight end by the name of Brock Bowers, but I don't see him falling. But if he does, I'll take him.
Yeah, man. I think Brock Bowers, he could definitely help with this new Clint Kubiak offense. It'll help with the blocking, which I think we desperately leave in a run game. It'll help with the red zone, which I think uh Derek Carr desperately leads, and it'll just help with another receiving threat. If Michael Thomas leaves, I think Brock Bowers he can make up for that. You'll have Brock Bowers, you'll have Chi Shaheed, you'll have Chris Olave, and then you still got guys that's on the emergence like A.T. Perry. So I think you could really do something with that. Um, Not to mention the fact that I think Clint Kubiak, he could kind of get something out of Lynn Bowden just on like little reverse plays and little screens and things of that nature. Like he could just be like another little mini Rashid Shaheed. So I think that Brock Bowers will definitely add another element to the offense if we were to select him. Then you can run two tight end sets with him and Jawan. You can run the heavy packages with him and Foster Monroe. I think that if we were to select Brock Bowers, I think Jimmy Graham, he's probably going to retire. He's out there in the ocean right now, probably as we speak, rowing. But yeah, I think Brock Bowers would be a good selection. And Newton, I've been seeing a lot of people talk about Newton. He's athletic. He probably could be like another Zadarius Smith or something like that. But I wouldn't mind another trench player. Like I told Dolph, man, with this draft and all the needs we have, we really can't go wrong. Like as long as there's somebody that's not injury prone and that was productive and have an actual name in college, we really can't go wrong with a lot of different positions because we have needs all over.
Yeah. Yeah, I have us going like I did a 2 round mock draft, and the first one had Jerron Newton, and the second one had Jordan Morgan, who's an offensive tackle from Arizona State. Yeah, it was either Arizona or Arizona State. It was one of them. And the combine report, well, obviously it's not the combine report because the combine ain't started yet. But like the report, like the scouting report, man, he was pretty good. He was like the most athletic. He suffered an injury, but he's been playing better since the injury. He's been playing better. So I think the Saints, like you said, you can't really go wrong. Well, I mean, I guess you could go wrong. Like you could draft a kicker in the first round just to piss us off. So I guess you could go wrong, but yeah.
Mm. What do you feel about the Saints moving practice to Irving, California?
To be honest, I don't care. To be honest, I don't care, and I never cared. As soon as I was told, I didn't care. Like that's like saying that's like saying moving the Super Bowl from New Orleans to California this year. Like that won't affect me. Like I ain't going anyway. So like don't get me wrong. Like I know some fans probably do care. I don't really care about locations and stuff. I just if we're getting better, that's all I want. Okay, so people keep asking me how I feel about California. To be honest, California is a place. That's how you're getting. That's my reaction. California is a place. Okay.
So you don't think it's any beneficial to the getting camping?
No, because like unless California just makes you a 99 overall overnight, no. Like
Mm.
that, like California ain't gonna make Dennis Allen get a brain, okay? Unless they sell brains, which I don't think any place do. So California ain't gonna
Well,
make
well,
the offensive line better.
Clint Kubiak stated that he wants to stress practice, like he want practice to be real, you know, players going after it, he want to stress, perfect or whatnot, things like that. And I guess by California being 70 degrees, that'll be good. And New Orleans, out there when it's training camp time, it just be brutal, like with the sun and the heat. And it's like a lot of players get the cramping up, and sometimes practice get called short. And that's why Jamal Williams, he lost a lot of that weight. He's been in Green Bay and Detroit, those cold places. And as soon as he came to New Orleans, he lost a lot of weight because it was just so hot out there. So maybe it can be beneficial getting just a little extra work in. You don't have players cramping up and you know worry about heat strokes and things of that nature.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. Like training camp ain't for another few months, so we'll have to see when the time comes.
Okay. Uh yeah, man, it's a lot that we gotta have to big in this off season, but I think a lot of people are excited about Clint Kubiak. I mean, this is our first offensive coordinator that we had in like what 20 years or something like. So it's like, man, it's just gonna be interesting. Like just the whole complete overhaul to the whole offense. I think everybody is just waiting and just want to see what we're gonna do with a lot of different key positions and want to see what we're gonna do with Derek Carr. Like, is he gonna get the ball out quicker? Is it gonna make him way better? We're gonna have to see because at the end of the day, he still have to throw the ball. At the end of the day, he still have to go to the right read. At the end of the day, he's still gonna have to, you know, get with the center and probably try to call a slot protection and things of that nature, and maybe audible out. Like just because the offense is a more better offense, you still got to have the right quarterback running that offense.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to like people keep talking about us drafting a quarterback this year, which I don't see happening. I think, um, but I do have a question for you. Do you think we're bringing back Jameis? I have a question for you. Do you think we're bringing back Jameis? Cause I would love it, but I I don't think we're gonna bring back Jameis. I think we're gonna try to give Jake a shot at being the backup. Are you there? Hello. Um. I don't know if you. I don't think your audio's working. I think your audio said bye bye. Bye bye audio. For real though, are you there? Am I just talking to myself? Okay, I'll just wait.